G'day everyone, it's Farmer Jay and welcome back to Derriere Farms. First, let me get a couple of housekeeping items out of the way. I apologize for not having a video up in the last little while. Couple of reasons, not that you really need to know. I've had a couple of family issues to take care of. Secondly, I've been having computer issues, and I'm going to go into those in another video. But if you're in the market for a new computer, no matter how good the deal seems, do not buy a Dell or a Hewlett-Packard or other brand names like that, because they just lead to problems. And like I said, that's going to be the topic of another video. And finally, I had done a map tour and started a Let's Play on probably my favorite map in Farming Simulator, Welker Farms. And things weren't going well. I couldn't figure it out why until it got taken off ModHub. Which is the reason I have not posted a video about Welker Farms map yet. I am waiting to see what the problems are, what gets fixed and or changed. I don't think it's fair to do a tour of a map or tease a map that has so many issues that it gets taken off ModHub and nobody can really play it. So when it's back, I will be doing the map tour again, and I will start a Let's Play from scratch. Okay, two more points. Thank you, and I'm not going to mention names, but to the subscriber that was our 500th subscriber, put us exactly halfway to the 1,000 subscriber mark that we need. And I would also like to congratulate a longtime subscriber who just got married. So I hope you, and you know who you are, I hope you and your wife have many, many, many happy years together. Alright, without the housekeeping out of the way, I wanted to talk a little bit today about something, well, we've talked a little bit about in the past, but I want to talk about how to balance your horsepower requirements with price, and why you can't trust the horsepower requirements that are recommended in the store. They are either sometimes way too high or way too low. And today we're going to focus on the ones that are way too low. Now, you can look at my, and this is not the point of the video, yeah, you can look at the fact that I have $6 million in the bank on this Let's Play map and say, well, you can afford to buy any tractor you want. Why do you have horsepower issues? That's not the point. The point is I want to tell you guys, I mean, not everybody can afford the biggest tractor on the map. And secondly, if you're like me and you try and play realistically, you don't want to put a John Deere 9R, a John Deere 9RX, or a Case Steiger on a piece of equipment that only requires and will actually work with, let's say, 200 to 250 horsepower. Why? For obvious reasons. You're wasting a lot of fuel. Because the vehicle's so expensive, your repair costs are going to be a lot higher than if you use the appropriate vehicle. And, well, so will your repaint, but I don't know how many people are worried about repainting. Now that I have enough money in the bank, yes, I'm repainting all my vehicles on this map, but that's beside the point. So, let's begin. Since I have the money, I want a second Slurry Spreader for the south end of my map. Down here, the southwest corner. Or even the western side of the map. Because I'm tired of driving from over here to over there, spreading slurry and driving back. I can afford the slurry spreader, so why not? So I decided to go with a Garant cot. And I'll show you in the store. Slurry Tankers. This is the second biggest one in the game. I was going to go with the Samson at 34 as opposed to 32 cubic meters, but the Garant cot just looked cool. It's got 4 tires. It weighs a little bit more at 17 tons. And I put it on the weigh scale to make sure. Yep, it weighs 17.6 tons. Now, the reason I mention this is because when I first got it, I tried to pull it with my John Deere 7R, which is maxed out at 380 horsepower. And the horsepower requirements for this one are, let's go back, 350. Well, as soon as I put some slurry in it, my 7R was not performing well. And I'm like, well, I'm 30 horsepower over what's recommended. Why am I having problems? I didn't even go to the field. I just, it triggered something in my brain that said, let's talk about this. So let me hook everything up and I will show, well, together this and this weighs 20 tons, which is a fair weight in itself. And I'll show you that in a second. So here we are, yep. 20, I think I'm a little bit over because I have a tiny bit of my tractor on there, but essentially 20 tons. $20 tons is a decent amount of weight to be pulling with any tractor. Boy, you put this on, it measures this one. I didn't realize it would measure that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat in. So we're at 20, almost 21 tons. I'm going to cheat in a full tank of slurry. Ha! That would be why I'm at 50, essentially 50 tons loaded with slurry. That's a lot of weight for a 380 horsepower tractor to be pulling, even with a front weight. Since I really don't want the cheated slurry, because I have plenty of slurry I want to use on my own, I'm just going to ignore that, and we're going to go to the farm and I'm going to pick up slurry. So much for the horsepower rating of 350 horsepower. Now, we did cover in a previous video the benefit of tracks over wheels, but that's not the point. You can see even the weight of the spreader alone, I'm still not up to, and I've been driving for a little bit now, I'm still not up to max speed. I'm at 23 of 20, I'm going to get to 26, don't worry. But I'm going to get to 26 miles per hour in a minute. 25, here we go, 26. So I'm at max speed now. But it took a while to get there because of the weight of the equipment. Alright, so I'm going to let that fill up. I'm going to give you another example of why horsepower requirements in the game are wrong or can't always be trusted. And let me zoom over here to my 9620. So this is 620 horsepower. I don't use it a lot because, like I said, I try and play realistically and it costs a lot to operate. So it really is only used for my heaviest equipment. I could probably put it on that Slurry Spreader. The 8RX seems to do okay once you get to the field, so I'm going to leave the 8RX on there at 458. Point being, right behind me is an auger wagon. And it is this one here. I don't use a Demco. I use the Elmer's because it's manufactured in Canada and I'm Canadian. It says it requires 400 horsepower to pull it. Now mine is configured. There we go, for 50. Am I configured for 56 or am I configured for the full 70? I can't remember. I will check and see. Auger wagons, there we go. Yeah, I'm configured for the full 70, so 400 horsepower to pull it. Again, if I hook up either my, and it doesn't matter which one, my 8R or my 8RT or 8RX, it takes a while to get that sucker moving when you have 70 cubic meters of grain in the hopper. That's why I have the 620. And I have a 9RX, similar horsepower at the other end of the farm for the other auger wagon. So my 9 series tractor is a 600, 600 horsepower are used either for my grain carts or my Borgo seed drills, which are very big, especially when they're fully loaded with seed. They definitely... I started off at the recommended. What is the recommended for the Borgo? I forget. Cedars. These I downloaded off a third-party website. They're crap, by the way. And I'm only pulling this one. 500 horsepower is recommended, but it carries 33 cubic meters or 33,000 liters of seed and fertilizer, which is a fair amount of weight. So it gives a little bit of a pull. The 620 horsepower is no problem. I started off with a base model and then upgraded the engine, especially for the grain cart, because when you've got 2 combines on the go, you want to get up to speed quickly and be able to catch up to the second one. While I'm on the subject, this is where I first discovered the problem, and I just thought it was, I didn't think too much. The Beery Field Master 20. Let's take a look at that one in the store. Requires 220 horsepower, 7.8 tons, but it will carry 30 cubic meters, similar to the other one. of slurry. And fully loaded, especially when I got to the hills, my 8R, which is 458 horsepower, was having trouble pulling something that is recommended for 220 horsepower. Now, on the other hand, here's my Manure Sprinter. It's the Farm Tech. And it's actually unique. If you guys don't know about this one, it's a great one to know about. It's under trailers. And it shows that I have two, but I've only got one configured as a Manure Spreader. Because you can either configure it as a standard trailer to hold 45,000 liters or 45 cubic meters, or you can configure it as a manure spreader. Weighs 10 tons. Fully loaded, I can pull that with my John Deere 7R at 380 horsepower. Ironically, the other piece of equipment I can pull with my John Deere 7R is the Borgo 18-ton, 12.2 meter cultivator. Doesn't seem to have too much of a problem. Depending on the slope, it will slow down a little bit, but it still pulls it. Rated for 385. I got, 388 in the John Deere, and it's not a problem. Just trying to think if there's anything else. So I guess my point here is the horsepower rating that Giant seems to use and modders seem to use is not necessarily based on the requirement for the piece of equipment, but rather it's based on the actual weight and the drag created by the weight of that vehicle. In fact, I'd be willing to bet, even though this holds 45,000 liters, if I took that over to the weigh station and weighed it, it would come in less than the Slurry Tanker. Give me a second. I'm going to try that out. Okay, so here we are back at the weigh station, and indeed it weighs 10 tons, as stated. Let's hook back up, and I'm going to cheat in manure. Quit. Wow. Yep, I am almost, 33,000. So I'm quite a bit lighter than I am with the Slurry Spreader. So even though I have 40... What is it? Sorry, my mind's going. So even though I have 45,000 liters of manure, it weighs a lot less than liquid slurry does. Hence the reason it is a lot easier to pull this. And actually, look, I'm gaining speed pretty quickly. I'm gonna hit something. No, I'm not. But I'm almost up to 30 miles an hour, and we weren't even up to 20 at this point with the Slurry Tanker. There, I'm at maximum speed now. So, 2 points to take away from this video is 1, weight and drag matter, and you need to factor that in when you're calculating your horsepower. Traction also matters. go back to the video we did on tracks versus tires and you'll see that for a fact. So while recommended horsepower might be fine for something like a cultivator or a plow, it doesn't really apply to heavy equipment like the auger wagon, the slurry tanker. The heavier the weight inside of it, the harder and harder it's going to be to pull. Therefore, you have to get to know your piece of equipment. I mean, I could spend hours telling you about different pieces of equipment and how well they pull and how well they don't pull, but really it's only going to be through trial and error you're going to determine what the horsepower requirements actually are for a piece of equipment, as opposed to what's recommended in the store. So you can't always just assume and say, hey, it says 350, I got a 380 horsepower tractor, I'm good to go. It might do it, but it's gonna struggle. And trust me, the 7R here struggled with that Slurry Sprinter, even on flat ground. And like I also said, the other point is, yes, I have several tractors here now on the farm. I'm not too concerned because I've got a fairly wide range of horsepower. But I still, because I try, like I said earlier in the video, I still try and play realistically. So I don't want to be using my 620 horsepower tractor that's going to cost me $1,000 an hour in repair costs, when I could be using something like this that's only costing me $350 an hour in repair costs. Hope that makes sense. Hope you found the video useful. I will be back because I have a couple more videos planned, as long as my computer doesn't fail while I'm waiting for a few parts to come in. Thank you for watching. Take care, Jay.